We should try the WCW one. One night, what was it? 1-900-909-9900.
9900. Yep.
Let's try it.
All right. 1-900, right? 909-9900.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless.
Oh,
Assholes. Come on now.
yeah, that's all
We
right.
try to do something fun with the listeners or for the listeners. They
That's
take
okay.
it away.
Same thing happened to me when I tried to order Tom Amansky's baseball the other day. All right.
I tried to order Dorf with golf.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is
Scott.
Hey yo. Is that his younger brother? It's gonna be
Jeff.
The cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
And you're listening to
all of the great action figures from our good friends at Hasbro.
the Fullyposeable
Have your own WrestleMania with all your favorite figures.
Wrestling Figure
Each sold separately from LJN.
Podcast.
And we are the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling.
Hey, welcome to episode 489 of the Fullyposeable Wrestling Figure Podcast, longest running episodic wrestling figure podcast going today. My name is Jeff, and sitting alongside next to me is my real life brother, not storyline brother, Scott. Scott, say hello.
Hello.
Scott, we've got so much action on this show, it ain't even funny.
Action packed, my friend.
Action packed. We are going to go over so much news that just dropped this past. Okay, it's only like a couple things, but anyways,
It's
we're
a
going to
few
do
things.
And then we've got another WWF magazine to go over. Truth be told, I actually wanted to go over a pro wrestling. Oh no, the wrestler.
The wrestler. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do that because I think I found the article that Scott saw all the LJNs in from
The wrestling ring ad.
Now, was that the wrestler or the wrestling ring, or were they all just like linked together?
Well, no, the wrestler was the magazine. And then the wrestling ring was the place where you ordered the figures from.
Okay. Well, I found that ad today and I was like, we should talk about it just because of this ad. And Scott's like, people are having fun with the WWF magazine. I was like, yeah, you're right. So, come on, dude.
Yeah.
We've got people on eBay right now scouring eBay for this stuff that's we're talking about in the merchandise area.
Well, I mean, we could talk about that ad anyway. I mean, I'll never forget seeing that ad and being like, this is amazing. We actually finally have a place that we can go to for these figures that we can't find. And then I was like, oh, wait, crap. They're $12 each. This is not going to go well. We're not going to get there's no way we're going to get all of them, dude. Asking for all of the ones we didn't have. So we just had to try to put a dent where we could, and we were able to get a few, thankfully. But yeah, just being able to get those figures in hand, because we couldn't find them in our area here on the West Coast, just being able to get them in hand was incredible.
So I was having a conversation with Brian from the Legendary Wrestling Figure podcast. By the way, he just got back from Disneyland too, and he had a great time.
Oh,
So-
awesome. Right on, man.
Yep. But anyways, I was talking to Brian. Scott, I want to ask you a question. And this is a question I asked Brian. The question kind of started because we never broke away from what we were watching on television. And you made the comment on the show, how many people actually had their Andre turn on Hogan and their LJN fed?
Right.
So my question to you is, did you ever have anybody turn on anybody in your fed? Or were you just like me, plain Jane vanilla over here? Whatever I saw on TV, I was putting together as far as my matches for that night.
Good question.
Those are the only questions I asked, Scott.
Only the good ones.
Yes.
That's why you are host extraordinaire. Oh man, not that I can recall. I've openly admitted numerous times, just plain vanilla for me. A lot of what I did during LJN playtime mirrored what you were seeing on Saturday mornings or Saturday night's main event or one of the pay-per-views. That was a lot of what I did with my figures too. I would have matches that weren't on TV, but all the characters were the same as they were on TV. The heels, the faces, everybody held that same role. I don't recall having anybody turn. There were guys that I like, Ted Arcidi, for example. I didn't really know if he was good or bad. So in my fed, he was bad, but I don't remember enough about him being on TV to even know what side of the fence he was on. But I mean, that would be like the weirdest one. Like SD Jones was always good. Like my jobbers were always the same as they were on TV. Like SD Jones lost Well, maybe he won in mine a little more than he lost because I loved SD Jones. But yeah, as far as like turning, definitely Andre didn't turn until he turned on Hogan. That's when Andre had Heenan at his side in my Fed. I always went by the book with mine. Super predictable, vanilla, boring. But man, I wish I would have had more fun as a kid and a little more imagination. You know, just wondering like how many people out there did have their Andre turn on Hogan before it actually all went down, or if you had two faces go at it. You know, I'm curious about that too, because that wasn't something we saw as kids back in the day. We didn't see a lot of good guy versus good guy matches. So just kind of curious how many kids had that dream match before it was a dream match.
If you go back to the British Bulldogs VHS tape, on one of those matches in there was Davey Boy versus Ricky Steamboat.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I remember watching that match and I'm like, why are they facing each other? And, you know, it was a very good guy type of match, you know, shaking hands and, you know, just very loose moves that didn't look painful and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, but then at some point in the match, you get the competitive juices flowing and then you can see them start to go at it. Like, and then you're like, okay, now this is a hell of a match.
Yeah. And then it was a fucky ending. It was like,
yeah, Bulldog crotched himself on the rope, like he was trying a flying drop kick while Ricky was against the ropes. He crotched himself, and the ref called the match. And you're like, well, why didn't Ricky pin him? Well, because Ricky was a good guy.
Exactly. So I remember stuff like that, like where good guys would face good guys and they would shake hands and, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, like in our Feds, like the only time like things like that would happen is if the bad guys were. There was a hot tag and the good guys were coming in and the bad guys accidentally hit each other or something like that. But none of them ever turned because we never had the wherewithal to, you know, ever think about turning our guys, you know?
Exactly. I never turned a manager to the other side.
Yeah.
Right. Like Captain Lou never went bad. Bobby Heenan never became a face. Jimmy Hart never became a face. There was a lot of my booking was exactly what you saw on TV. Now, again, I'd have my own matches, you know, not necessarily something that was on TV, but everybody held the same character that they were on TV, either face or heel.
You know, now that you mentioned the managers, you just unlocked a brain thing in my brain.
A core memory.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Also known as a brain thing in your brain.
Yeah. You made me unlock this brain thing in my brain. I did have Bobby Heenan accompany Hercules down to the ring, but then Hercules left. And he left Bobby at ringside, and that was it. This is where it gets all jumbled up. This is like 5-6-year-old brain that can't remember, but I do remember Hercules had Bobby come to the ring. I don't remember if I think he was facing Bundy or Stud or something, or.
Interesting. Somebody within the Heenan family.
Bobby helped Stud or Bundy and accidentally tripped up Hercules, and then Hercules left, and then that was it.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. So but your manager was still bad.
He was still bad. Exactly. But Hercules turned face.
Okay.
There was a reason why Hercules turned face is because Hercules turned face in TV. So I had to have Hercules. Okay. I remember he was facing somebody and he was facing a bad guy. And I want to say it was somebody from the Heenan stable.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, dude. That makes sense. So you didn't actually turn the manager. That was just your way of getting Hercules to turn face. You know, I always wish that they had made Hercules with short hair. I think that would have been a decent seller for them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I was a big Hercules fan. Not necessarily when he was bad, because, you know, he was a Heenan family member. You had to hate the Heenan family. But when he became good, like, I was fully on board. I'm like, yeah, let's give this guy some wins. Like, I could see him being an intercontinental champion for sure. You know, and then he beat Haku at, was that 5? WrestleMania 5?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. They're finally going to, you know, he's going to get a push. Something's going to start happening with Hercules. And it never did. And then Power and Glory should have been way bigger than they actually were. I don't think that team is given enough credit. And yeah, it's just Hercules was just cursed, man. In the ring, it just in WWF in general, it just seems like he was just cursed. They gave him stuff to do, but he never took off. He never held a title. And I think that he was very, very title worthy, especially with Power and Glory. They made perfect sense as tag team champions.
Yeah, especially at that time. But when you had the Nasty Boys, you had the Road Warriors coming in.
Well, the Road Warriors came in later, though.
Well, no, Oh, wait, maybe you're right.
Yeah, because they squashed them at 7, and they had debuted not that long before that.
You're right. You're right.
And then they won the tag titles at SummerSlam, and by that point, Power and Glory was just poof. They were pretty much done. But yeah, I think before the Road Warriors showed up, they made perfect sense as tag team champions. Those guys could go.
It's funny, we're talking about Power and Glory. Just saw a reel the other night where Paul Roma and Hercules became buddies.
I saw that too against the Rockers.
And it was so weird too, because it was like, all of a sudden, here comes Hercules to help Paul Roma. It's like,
it was
what?
Completely random, dude.
And
there was no explanation.
And Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels were trying to help Paul Roma, and he gets pissed at him. And it was like,
he starts shoving them, and you're like, wait a second. And then Hercules comes in, and you're like, wait, what is happening here? What bizarro world is this? And Hercules was still face at the time. And then at that moment, then they started, throwing hands, and now Power and Glory is formed.
Everybody knows where to get our shirts over at Pro Wrestling Tees and What a Maneuver. You guys know where to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, X. You guys know where to listen to us and where to send us any audio questions or questions. Send that on over to Fullyposeable WFP at gmail.com. Speaking of podcasts, I want to welcome back to the podcast world, Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling. They are back once again, back putting out shows. Man, did they go through a life change.
Really? Okay, so what happened with them? So they stopped doing the podcast? I didn't know. Well, I mean, again, I don't really follow podcast world, but so they stopped, and now they're. How long were they offline for?
I think their last show was 3 years ago. They talked about it. I listened to it on Saturday. I want to say that they talked about it and said that they just needed to stop. They just weren't. I shouldn't say they, but Marty just wasn't there. And they went through a life change. They moved out of Chicago. They are now in Wisconsin. Wow. They talked about it all on their first show back. And yeah, it's a huge life change. They bought a house, and
good for them.
It was good to hear them again, because it was one of those, you missed them. You missed Marty and Sarah, and you missed listening to their show because it was pure laughter, all improv, all done on the fly. They have buddies that came into their studio just like we had people coming into our show, which was weird. But anyways, it was good to hear them back and happier than ever. It sounded like refreshed.
That's awesome. Just genuinely good people. Every time I've met them in person, it has just been so much fun. And you just get that warm energy off of them. And they're just, like I said, genuinely great people. I'm happy they're doing well. Getting the home is just incredible. I'm happy that they're back in the podcast space too. And hopefully they keep it going. So I'm super happy for them, dude. That's great news. Thank you for letting me know that.
Yep. And they are at Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling, of course.
Awesome.
Scott, have you picked up anything recently?
It's funny, Jeff. The other night I was texting with Tim at a chair shot on Twitter, or the X.
Yes.
And he goes, and as he always does, he's one of the pillars of the Fig Life community. Are you looking for anything? And I go, yeah, dude. I said, I'm trying to get my hands on that Monday Night Wars DDP. I was like, every time I've checked our Walmart, they've had one of the set or two of the set, just can't get my hands on DDP. And he goes, oh, man. He goes, I just saw DDP yesterday at your Walmart. And I was like, of course. Of course. It's there when I'm not there. That's how it goes. And he's like, don't worry. I got you. If I find one, I'll pick it up. So I went there the very next day. And wouldn't you know it, Jeff, I walk up and they are stocked with Monday Night Wars.
Whoa.
Shamrock, Brett, and Ringmaster.
No DDP.
No DDP. I'm telling you, I am bound and determined to not get my hands on that figure. At least not at retail. It is just not happening for me, and I am so pissed. I haven't wanted one of the Monday Night Wars figures, really. I mean, I wanted Harlem Heat, and I was able to get them through you, but I haven't really been super big on that series. The Luger Ultimate is amazing. I've got that one as well. So it's been a very, very select few, but that DDP is one I absolutely want inside the DTOF, and I just cannot find that figure. I cannot get my hands on that figure, and it is pissing me off so bad. I'm not going to get it. That's all there is to it. I'm just not going to get it.
Yeah, you will.
Cursed.
Keep checking eBay or Mercari, dude. It'll pop up for a good price. You got it.
Well, what's funny is Walmart got them back in, because
Yeah.
I had the notify me thing on, and it's like, hey, the DDP figure you're looking for is back in stock. And I jump on, it was a secondary seller.
Oh, God.
And it was like $50.
Yeah.
Like, no, pass. Thank you. So anyway, no, I haven't. Well, let me think. No, BBTS got Elites in, the Liv Morgan series, and immediately sold out of Liv.
Go figure.
Exactly what they did with the Rhea Ripley Elite series. So I'll get the Liv on Amazon or something later, but missed that on BBTS, so no pre-order through them. And what's funny is they've sold out of most of that new Elite series, except for, I think, Braun Breaker, and there's one more that hasn't sold out. But man, Elites on BBTS, they're doing really well. Ultimates, not so much, but the Elites are selling out.
Speaking of BBTS, Keith Brockus, I want to thank Keith. He found the new Superstar series in Missouri and was able to send it over to me. That is
awesome.
That's the one with Ricky, Jake, and I'm missing the other one. Of course, I always forget the last one.
It happens.
It's like 7 doors. I can name 6 of them, and I always forget 7th, right? But anyways, he did send those over to me, so I want to thank him. But he went on to BBTS and he picked up the Road Warriors that have the red black shoulder pads, or the Legion of Doom, and he got them in already, and they look fantastic. Did you get yours, by the way, or are they still sitting in your pile of loot?
They're in the pile of loot. I've got other stuff sitting in the pre-order hopper that I'm going to let those come in, because they definitely will within that 90-day window that they give you to ship. So I'm going to just hit the pause button and then I'll get them when I get them. But yeah, everything I've been hearing is that those are just awesome.
And Keith mentioned that he did not get hit with any tariff surcharges. So not sure.
Okay. So he didn't pre-order. He just went on and bought them when they came in stock.
Bingo.
Got it. Okay. And so no tariff surcharge. That's good, because they had that little asterisk. And in fact, they went up to 115 at one point. Correct. And you had to put the pre-order deposit down on them. So, okay, good. I'm glad. And they were what, 110?
He said 110 shipped. Okay,
got it. Well, that's not that bad, because if you have them in your pile of loot, the entire pile is $4 to ship.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't pay a ton on shipping. That's good.
Yeah.
Right on. And we may be talking about those LOD figures later in the show too.
Well, we're definitely going to be talking about LOD later in the show, but I think that's like every show.
Well, it should be every show
that we talk about LOD.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, they're like the 7th best tag team of all. I'm just kidding.
It's funny. I thought that was the Rock and Roll Express.
How dare you? Get out of here right now.
Security.
I'm going to unfriend you like I did on MySpace.
Like a MySpace. Yeah. F you and F Tom. You guys are out of here.
Yeah, all of you. Speaking of emails, we got one from Josh Thompson. Hey, Jeff and Scott, JT here, back with that bi-weekly submission. Boys, I know that I've been asking a lot of questions about TNA action figures lately, but it's really been getting on my nerve how Snakebitten Impact's chances of getting an action figure line have been post-Jax, with their latest attempt being in wrestling figure purgatory, no thanks to a certain company whose name Scott prefers we not say on this podcast, and for good reason.
Thank you, JT.
So this week I wanted to ask you, what company would you like to see take over the TNA license to make action figures? Here's my 3 choices. Number 1, Mattel. I know Steve gave us the old, if they were available to us answer on Impact figures, but I can't help but long to see and hear announcement of Mattel Creations presents TNA action figures. The whole reason why I'm rooting for Steve and co to get permission to do Abyss is because I know they're going to do anything and everything to knock that figure out of the park.
Can I pause you real quick there, Jeff?
The Joseph Park.
Okay, well done. Good pun. On the Abyss note, this is just going to piggyback off of what JT is saying right now. If you play WWE Supercard right now, and I'm going to do this while I have you on the phone, Jeff, I'm going to click my WWE Supercard app.
So Supercard seems to be more realistic. I shouldn't say realistic. I'm sorry. More showing that someone is going to be coming later on down the line. So, for example, I think Abyss is in that Supercard, right?
Not only is he in it, Jeff.
Yes.
He is on the homepage right now.
Oh.
Because they've got this thing. It's like, it looks like Candyland to me, where there's this little skull and it goes along a road. The more points you get, it goes along a road. And then as you go along the road, you unlock stuff. And it's called Psychopath.
Oh.
And jumping out of the screen is Abyss. I couldn't believe it when because that was like the big thing this week. That's like the weekly thing is this new psychopath. And I couldn't believe that Abyss was the one that they had as like the face of this promotion. And I was like, oh, dude, that like you said, this is a good indicator of figures incoming. And then he is on the homepage of Supercard. I mean, it's starting to add up that JT's probably going to get his wish for an Abyss figure, and it will be from Mattel.
Side note, is Macho Man in the Supercard?
I haven't seen a Macho Man Supercard in quite a while.
Okay, gotcha. Just asking.
Yep. I have not. He's still my icon or my avatar on there, but I have not seen a Macho Man card in a very, very long time. Would you like to know what my best card in the game is, Jeff?
Your best,
and this is more for the super card marks out there like me. But basically, you get these cards, right, and they go in order of how good they are. Would you like to know my number one card? And here's a hint: it's a man.
Becky Lynch.
He look like a man. No, not the man.
Oh,
it is a man.
A man. Okay. Ted Arcidi LJN.
No. It's not a toy.
The dude
it's a
with
card. It's a person.
Ted Arcidi with the big cake. He's got the cake. If you look at that figure, he's got some cake going on, dude. He didn't.
Those cheeks.
Those cheeks. He didn't miss squat day on that figure for sure.
No, he did not. Him and Bailey apparently doing the same workout routine.
Okay, so Outback Jack.
Okay.
Dirty Dick Slater.
So Jeff, my best card is a WrestleMania 41 limited edition Vader.
Vader wasn't at WrestleMania 41.
Okay. No, he was not. WrestleMania 41 is the series of card.
Oh, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Which they just added a new tier, I think, this week. So WrestleMania 41 is not the top tier anymore. There's one that took it over. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But that is my best card. It's a limited edition Vader, which I am very, very proud of. And that went nowhere with you. So thank you.
Well, that's all for the super card marks out there.
Exactly. But maybe the super card marks are like, oh, amazing. You know, they're throwing confetti in the air. They're super happy for me.
They're trying to send you a trade for that Vader.
That's the thing is you can't trade those.
Oh, you can't?
This is not like the Slam app.
Okay. Where
you can send trades. Nope. This is 100%. You can go head to head with people, but you're not exchanging cards.
I keep forgetting to check my Slam app. I do Bunt and I play Yahtzee, and that's about it. I'm very old.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought you were old until you said Yahtzee.
Dude, Yahtzee rules, dude. Yahtzee, I love Yahtzee. It's one of my favorite.
You have some close friends over. You drink highballs and you play Yahtzee.
Shut up. It's true. Well, we don't drink highballs. We drink primes. Have to keep ourselves hydrated for this marathon Yahtzee match.
Yeah, down in C4s and prime. Oh, you live wild, my friend.
I know. All right. Back to JT's question. And I imagine that same could be said for guys like Joe Hendry, Moose, and general manager Santino. So he's talking about Mattel getting those guys under a deal and then making figures of them. Number 2 company he would like to see do these figures is Boss Fight. On one hand, I'd really like to see the MLW line come back. On the other hand, I'm down for Boss Fight doing Impact action figures. Still to this day, I sing the praises of their first line of MLW figures. They are actually good. And they were delayed. The company informed everyone about said delays and met their new shipping date.
What? Communication?
This is actually funny. He says, what a novel concept, Scott. A company informing customers of delays and hitting them with new shipping dates. Amazing.
Wow. What a concept.
Yeah. And 3, FTC. Yes, boys, I know FTC wrestling figures were a bit rough, having some of those figures that didn't turn out too good, but I'm willing to give the company a second chance if they release Impact figures in their new style of their Ultimate refs and fans, followed by those sweet, sweet clothing accessories. I've heard a lot of good things about the fans, security, and ref figures, especially from little-known YouTuber who goes by the name Wrestling Stage Creator. So maybe FTC should get another shot at making wrestling figures for a company. Impact figures, really hoping for Mattel.
It makes the most sense, right? WWE and TNA in bed together right now. They're kind of exchanging talent. It makes the most sense, but that is not a lifetime deal between those two. So I think, Mattel's going to keep their bread buttered with WWE and continue to make figures and not bring in TNA to muddy those waters. I think that's going to stay separate. Now, there will be names like Abyss that will be made by Mattel.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, like FTC does deserve another shot. But if I could pick one company, it would be Boss Fight. You look at what they did with the Roosh, the Drilistico figures that you're going to talk about in the pre-orders, Jeff. You see what they're capable of. They actually deliver product, which is a huge change from the company that TNA is in bed with right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see Boss Fight get that shake. I really would.
Yeah. The reason I go Mattel is because there are still a few people that, as far as I know, work backstage for WWE that were in TNA. For example, PD Williams, he was in there. Robert Roode still in there. Though we did get a Robert Roode action figure, you know, maybe one half of Beer Money or something like that look or something like that, you know, they've done half tag teams before, but I don't know how many people would remember Beer Money. You know, that was a long time ago in not WWE world. So would a lot of people remember Beer Money? That's a question. I mean, all of us hardcores would be like, yeah, you know, boners up for Beer Money, you know?
But realistically at retail, that's going to warm pegs.
Exactly. Boners up for Beer Money and Harambe, you know, stuff like that, dude. So anyways, but there's other people that kind of still hang around WWE. You could do an old school AJ Styles and stuff like that. So, I mean, obviously you won't be able to do Samoa Joe or Christopher Daniels. Can't do those guys, but there's still a few other people that made the appearance in TNA that you could still touch, you know, that you can make figures of in a Impact line or whatever it may be.
Well, I mean, you've got Nash, you've got Angle, right? You've got Hogan, you've got guys that were in TNA that were big names, Booker T. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, you've got guys that you could do. How much did their look differ in TNA compared to WWE?
That's the other part. I mean,
so you're duplicating at that point, right? You're
basically duplicating and slapping a new card on. That just basically is like TNA Impact, and it's just another Kevin Nash, you know?
Right. Now, the difference would obviously be somebody like AJ Styles, who's had a big time change in his appearance. So, I mean, that would be one that would be very, very cool. But how many different AJ TNA figures are you going to make? You know, you have to fill up a series to be at least 4 figures. So I don't know about that. I just think that it would muddy the waters of the TNA WWE relationship if you have the same company making toys for both. Because once that relationship ends between WWE and TNA, and I don't know how long that's supposed to last for, how does that work after the fact? Now you've got a toy company making toys for competitors, not partners. So that could get weird. That's why I don't think it's going to go to Mattel. It's got to go to somebody else. So my first pick would be Boss Fight, but I would love to see FTC get another shot because people wanted them to ditch those Ruthless Aggression style bodies for a long time. And it seems that they've done that. And now if they could get the license, do some mock-ups, impress some people, I'd definitely be open to seeing what they could do.
All right, Scott, we got to get into these pre-orders. Over for the big rubber guys, Cardona and Myers, limited to 1,000, obviously. Those are still over at collectmajor.com. Over at collectmajor.com, also, you can get the Major Bendy's Daniel Fishelhausen, a.k.a. Topanga, in Danhausen face paint. Over at collectmajor.com, also, their new pre-order, Shotzi Blackheart, the Genius, Koko B, and who's the other one, Scott?
Sean Mooney.
Thank you. I actually forgot. I told you, dude, it's always that last one I always forget about.
That's the last one. Like the 7 Dwarfs. You always forget one.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, those are available to pre-order at collectmajor.com. Next paycheck, those will get got.
You know what's interesting, Jeff? Just a real quick note. They did the one special pre-order, which was the Bad News Brown, where I think if you ordered it from them, you got the rat.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done that since. That was such a cool selling point for me. Like, you know, don't go to BBTS and pre-order them. You know, don't go anywhere else. Just come to us and you'll get a bonus.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a cool thing. I actually dig that idea. And I think that they should do that a few more times with more figures.
Much agreed. If they ever got Jim Cornette, make it one that, you know, first 200 orders gets the racket or something like that.
Well, I think you have to include the racket with them, though.
Yeah, I know. I was just
like maybe removable sunglasses.
Okay. Man, did Corny
or
ever
not
wear
sunglasses, removable glasses.
glasses? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Or like if they ever do Paul Ellering, like you get Rocco.
I hate you.
Mattel did it already. It's fair game.
And I hate your couch. Did you like that thing I sent over to you with the babies? The people that are
yes
doing AI with kids and stuff.
Yes.
I found a Wilford Brimley one where he was all talking about diabetes and it was a baby talking
It's a baby talking about diabetes, has 1 foot.
He's all, I'm here talking about diabetes, and it's a baby talking with that. It's great, dude. It's great. All right, pre-order over on Big Bad Toy Store, Boss Fight Studio, Dragon Lee, Roosh, and Dralistico. These figures are also available on J&J Figures because I was over on J&J Figures and I jumped over there because I wanted to get Sean Ing's Berserker figure that was J&J exclusive, where it was Berserker in like a light blue.
Yep.
Sold out. Berserker is going, people are going Berserker for Berserker from Sean Ing at KWK.
Wow, really? Sold out?
Sold out, dude.
That's great news, Sean. See, he has stayed the course. He is communicating with his customers. He has been fully transparent, and look what happens. Mm-hmm. You know, he has taken loss after loss, curveball after curveball, difficulty after difficulty. He's come out smelling like a rose every single time. He's communicated everything with us. He's kept you on top of all of the shipping, all of the pre-orders. And now look at the success that follows. I'm super happy for Mr. Ing.
Yep. So you can get those over at J&J Figures. Do a Google search for J&J Wrestling Figures, Asylum, Wrestling Merch. Just hit up Sean on at KWK Brand on Instagram, and you will be able to see where you can pre-order. And if you're in a different country, check them out because they may be able to ship from, you won't get hit with a hard shipping charge, you know, if it's within your limits or whatnot. So
yeah, and that Berserker figure kicks serious ass. It looks great.
Oh, it's fantastic, dude. It comes with the shield and sword. So fantastic looking figure.
Absolutely.
Check out Latuni. They have a bunch of action figures up there. They have their Everest series where it's huge figures. They got Road Warriors. Boy, I keep talking about Road Warriors on this episode.
See, blessed.
Yeah. The 12-inch Road Warriors are over there, 12-inch Macho Man. So check out Latuni as well. Zombie, check out Pro Wrestling Tees and zombiesailor.com for his figures. We'll be talking about him in a second. Shop.figurecollections.com. Check out a bunch of retros over there. And I've already talked about Sean Ing, well-deserved on the Berserker figure and how hot and heavy that is getting sold right now. So, in the news, Scott, you sent this over to me and I'm like, why are we talking about WrestleFest? Well, from Wrestlezone that you sent over to me, WWF WrestleFest arcade cabinet will be available to buy for your home. The 1991 Technos arcade classic WWF WrestleFest is making a shocking comeback later this year. According to Toy Book, the company Big Fun will be releasing arcade cabinets for your home later this year. Among these will be the classic wrestling game WWF WrestleFest. Yes, WWF WrestleFest, which is arguably the most popular wrestling arcade game of all time. Senior Vice President of Global Marketing at Big Fun, Dan Westcott, had the following to say to Toy Book regarding the WWF WrestleFest coming to homes for the first time. It's a fan favorite and has never been done before in the home arcade space, Dan Westcott said. While pricing for WrestleFest in particular is currently unknown, Big Fun will be rolling out a collection of home arcade cabinets later this year, ranging from $179 to $599. That's not $1.79. That's $179.99 to $599.99. For those unfamiliar with the game, WWF WrestleFest featured two modes, Royal Rumble and Saturday Night's Main Event. While Royal Rumble is self-explanatory, Saturday Night's Main Event allows you to pair up two WWE superstars to chase after current tag team champions, Legion of Doom.
There they are again.
The in-game roster as follows: Hogan, Warrior, Million Dollar Man, Big Boss Man, Jake the Snake Roberts, Mr. Perfect, Earthquake, Sergeant Slaughter, Demolition, Smash and Crush, Hawk, and Animal not playable. Scott, that leads me to ask you, would you get it?
No, already had it and barely played it. So no, that's an easy one for me. So this is going to come as like a tabletop. meaning it's going to be like half of an arcade cabinet. It would be like the top half, which is like your joystick and your buttons and your screen and your header. So like you could set it on a kitchen table and sit down and play it. They also make stands for them, or bases, if you will, so where you can flesh out the rest of your arcade style cabinet. So it's a full size as opposed to a tabletop. And then it'll have all the side graphics on it and everything. It'll look just like an arcade game. They are very, very cool. You can find them at Costco. In fact, I think Costco right now has a Pac-Man one. It's interesting that, okay, so how does the licensing on this work? Did they go through WWF or WWE to get this game?
That's a great question. That was going to be my question to you. I mean, we're not part of Big Fun or whatever, and we don't know Dan Westcott, but like, if they were to re-release a WWF WrestleFest, wouldn't they have to eliminate some people that they don't have contracts with? Or
that's what I'm thinking. But LOD's in the game. I mean, pretty much everybody else that you ran off on that list, they have a deal with, right? Hogan, Warrior, Boss Man, $1 Million Man, Jake Roberts. So they've all got deals. LOD, I think, just if you could peruse that list again real quick, Jeff, I think LOD are the only ones that don't. But I don't know who holds the rights to WrestleFest. I really don't know, but it's very interesting that you're getting a WWF arcade cabinet with the Legion of Doom in there when Legion of Doom are not under a WWE Legends deal.
Refresh my memory. Was Demolition Crush signed back to a deal?
Yes.
Okay, because I knew Axe and Smash were. I just didn't remember if...
Yeah, and Smash and Crush are in the game. And they've got Legends deals.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very interesting. So I don't know who this deal was made with, if it was WWE or whoever holds the rights to WrestleFest. I really don't know. But I think the one thing that they should change is they should make this, given the price tag, they should make this a multi-arcade cabinet and not only include WrestleFest, but also include WWF Arcade or WrestleMania Arcade and WWF Superstars.
Yeah, definitely. By the way, speaking of Demolition, side note, they did sign a 6-year deal with WWE's Legends deals. So.
Oh, and they also showed the names that they're going to have figures of.
Oh yeah, Crusher Khrushchev.
Yes, let me bring up that list right now. So
Barry Darsow, the golfer.
No, surprisingly, that is not one of them.
What?
I know. So you're going to get Repo Man, Crusher Khrushchev, which we're just not going to get Ivan Koloff or Nikita. You guys are going to do this again. Really? Really? Torture us? Super Machine and Masked Superstar. So very interesting. Super Machine. They also have Andre under a deal. So we're going to get the machines.
Yeah, because we got Andre as the Machine back in the earlier Elites. Well, it's like Elite 64 or something like that. But this one, we can actually start pairing up the machines.
Exactly. So you'll have your machines. I mean, who on their scorecard for 2025 had the machines down on their guest list? I certainly did not. So look, what a time to be alive. What a time to be a figure collector. Unfortunately, Barry Darsow, the golfer, was not listed amongst those. I mean, that would be a great Comic-Con release, I think.
Would it?
Way back when, in like the mid-2010s, it would have been fantastic.
Demolition is back, but back to WrestleFest. You said you are not going to get it, Scott, because it's a tabletop, and you already had it. So, by the way, what did you do with yours?
Sold it to a guy from Washington.
He drove down and picked it up?
He did. Technically, he flew here and drove it back. He rented an SUV. He flew into Sacramento, rented an Escalade SUV, drove it to my house, and we loaded it in the back because we had to take it apart, shoved it into this rental. Like, I mean, we shoved this thing and it's wood scraping on plastic. And you're like, oh, that's going to scratch. Drive it like it's a rental. Screw it. And we loaded this thing in the back and he drove back to Washington. And like 2 weeks later, he sent me a picture of it in his den.
Shit, that's actually cooler than me flying down to Southern California to pick up all those Jack's Classics one-ofs.
Yeah.
Damn, that's actually cooler.
Yeah, it was shoving a WrestleFest arcade in the back of his rented SUV. But yeah, that's what happened to that. It went to a fellow wrestling fan. I wasn't going to work on it anymore because like a couple of the Joy, because it was the 4-player one. Mm-hmm. And it was formerly a Turtles arcade cabinet. But a couple of the joysticks and buttons were off. They didn't work exactly right. So, I mean, if you were playing solo, it was fine. But when you had people over, it was like, damn it, only a couple of these work. And I wasn't going to work on it. I didn't have time for that. So it went to a good home. Now it's out in the field playing with other WrestleFest arcade cabinets.
Did he get rid of it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, this dude was like over the moon to have it, and he was going to work on it and stuff. He was going to put new graphics on the side, so he was going to do it up. He was super happy to have it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought he was going to throw it like into a dumpster or like in a landfill with all the ET cartridges or something, but it was all WrestleFest arcades.
Considering the money that he sunk into that trip, a flight, a rental, the gas to Washington, the cost of the arcade itself, that was a dedicated fan right there, dude. He wanted that thing.
All right. That is the Wrestlezone article regarding WrestleFest. Zombie Sailor just showed off the Gladiator. And who's the Gladiator, Scott?
Mr. Awesome himself, Mike Awesome.
Nice. It was Mike Awesome. That is one of 1,000. It is on sale today as of right now, June 5th and it started at 5 p.m. So about 2 hours ago. It is up to 1,000. Who knows? By the time this show drops, it may be gone, but check it out. zombiesailor.com. Also at Zombie's website, Ric Flair in Baby Blue available to order now. It's him in, Baby Blue. That's it.
It's him in Baby Blue.
That's it. That's available at zombiesailor.com. Let's continue on. Grapplers and Gimmicks still in our news every single week, sliding into our news. Charles Wright Legacy Collection in stock now. It is a Kama Mustafa figure, Papa Shango figure, and the Godfather. Those are all retro style over at Grapplers and Gimmicks. And last but not least, Top Rope Collectibles. You can find them also on J&J Toys. I was on J&J Toys today, as you can tell. The Paul Orndorff card was shown off. There's going to be 2 variants for Paul Orndorff. He'll be in orange trunks. Check it out, J&J Figures, or do a search for Top Rope Collectibles, Paul Orndorff. All these figures can be found also at WrestlingFigureDatabase.com, where they have almost every wrestling figure ever made over at WrestlingFigureDatabase.com.
Jeff, I just had to check for accuracy's sake because somebody would have said something. It was Kama Mustafa, the Nation member, and Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine, was in that red singlet with the white shirt.
You're right.
So it's Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine in that Legacy collection.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. No Nation of Domination, Kama Mustafa. Well, not yet anyway.
Yeah. I know that somebody would have been pissed off about that, and they would
they would have grabbed their pitchfork, grabbed their torch.
They're going to wait they're going to wait for the day I pass away, and then they'll piss on my grave.
Right. Yes, exactly.
They will hunt down my grave and piss on it,
Yeah. Deface your headstone.
All because of that. Nothing else I've ever said or done on the show. It's just because I messed that up.
That one thing. They're like, I've been waiting for a Nation retro for so long, and you got my hopes up, you son of a bitch.
I have been waiting for this bastard to keel over so I could piss on his grave. For
now
that
I can pee on your grave.
Interesting. Hey, if somebody hates me that bad, you know what? Go for it, man.
So before we finish out the news, Jeff, I saw something today.
Oh no. What?
That it literally blew my mind. So this is the part of the show where if you are a wrestling fan and specifically not a G.I. Joe fan, this might bore you. So I apologize in advance. So let me kick it off with a little bit of wrestling. Hasbro had their big reveal this week for new G.I. Joe figures coming out. And one of those things is their San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Cold Slither 4-pack, which is all the members of a band called Cold Slither that was in the original G.I. Joe cartoon, who were Zartan and his Dreadnoks. They were basically like a rock band, right?
Okay.
Well, so that's going to be their San Diego Comic-Con giveaway, or not giveaway, but like their figures that you can buy. But they also showed off a new Sergeant Slaughter G.I. Joe figure. So I'll tie it into wrestling that way. But they hyped up this Cold Slither thing, Jeff. And let me just, so I've mentioned they're doing the 4-pack of figures. It's going to be super limited. It was already going to be super hot. This bit of news I'm about to read could increase the insanity to get the Cold Slither 4-pack to levels unheard of in Comic-Con history. I'm just saying this thing is going to be super hot. So let me read you. I'm getting my readers on, so you know it's a big deal.
You don't even do this when we go over WWF magazines.
No, I don't. I don't need them for that, but this I need them for. RPM/Hasbro drops bombshell reveals from G.I. Joe's infamous metal band, Cold Slither, featuring Exhumed, Gruesome, and KMFDM members. They're making a real Cold Slither band.
Wait,
There's actually live action Cold Slither. Yes, they are making. So David actually sent this to us earlier, and I read it and I was like, "What the hell? This has to be a joke." And sure enough, this news popped up, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like Cold Slither's becoming a thing." So here it is. Hasbro, a leading games IP and toy company, in collaboration with Reigning Phoenix Music, today unleashed a series of epic announcements for Cold Slither, a newly reimagined heavy metal band based on the infamous fictional group from the iconic 85 animated series, G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. This isn't just an album. This is quotes now. This isn't just an album. It's a sonic strike straight from Cobra Commander, said Cold Slither. We're back, louder, heavier, and deadlier than ever. We can't wait for G.I. Joe fans and metalheads to experience the raw power of our music, culminating in our live debut at San Diego Comic-Con. Prepare your ears for total domination.
What?
Let's rock and Cobra roll.
What?
Following the success of Cold Slither and Knock 'em Dread, the band's explosive new single, Thunder Machine, which is their vehicle, Jeff, is now streaming on all major platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. Okay, hold on.
Wait, so after Dave sent this, did you go onto Spotify and look for this?
No, it literally popped, and see, Big Brother's always watching. It popped up in my Facebook feed.
Of course.
So I read his text, clicked on Facebook, and this was one of the first things to pop up from Toys. I believe it's Toys News NSI. Yeah. And here's the thing, Jeff. This is a limited release set of figures that they are going way harder than they have to sell. This was going to sell out anyway.
Okay.
Right? Like, this is when you're going to jump on, and it's going to be gone within a minute. This isn't anything they had to hard market.
Wait, so my question is if this is such a hit, do you think that there's a chance that they would tour?
I don't know. They're doing a show. Okay, so yeah, here it is. I brought them up on Spotify. I typed in Cold Slither, and boom, it's the logo and everything. Knock 'em Dread, Cold Slither, and Thunder Machine are the songs.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So if you're listening, you can jump on Spotify right now, type in Cold Slither, and they have 3 songs available as of Thursday, June 5th. I'm blown away by this. So there's a little bit more. The hard-hitting track, they're talking about Thunder Machine now, inspired by the Dreadnought's brutal battle rig, delivers cinematic riffs and raw energy, an explosive anthem forged from chaos, rebellion, and heavy metal fury. So here you go. You're like, who's making this music? Who's in the band? Right? Is this Death Clock? It is not. In addition, the identities of the band members have now been revealed as... So they're actually playing the characters who were in the cartoon.
Okay.
Zartan being played by Gus Rios, vocals and guitars. He is from Gruesome, Union Black, and Left to Die. Ripper is being played by Matt Harvey on guitars, who has been in Exhumed, Gruesome, and Left to Die. The character Torch is played by Ross Sewage, who is on bass, and he has been in Exhumed and Impaled. Finally, the character of Buzzer being played by Andy Selway on drums, and Andy Selway was in KMFDM. Okay, so they're going to add on more. We're not just getting, like, plugs for the music. Now, album pre-order and vinyl variants, Jeff. This is becoming a whole thing, right? This is stemmed from an appearance in a cartoon, a total one-off, that has somehow gained traction, grown legs, and has turned into this thing. Coinciding with the single drop, pre-orders are now live for Cold Slither, the band's full-length debut album. A whole album. including a limited Dreadnought Attack Orange Marble Vinyl variant, available via Reigning Phoenix Music and select retailers like Amazon, Amoeba, and indie record stores. Featuring 10 original tracks and a remastered version of their cult classic single, Cold Slither, the album plunges into dystopian metal with themes of swamp-born menace and cobra-fueled power. This is fantastic.
This is insane.
Oh, it is. Yeah. To sell 4 figures. The Cold Slither album arrives July 25th across digital and vinyl formats, including San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Zartan Chameleon Blue and Blood Moon Red vinyl variants available only at the Hasbro and RPM booths, respectively. So Comic-Con exclusive records. They give a track listing. I won't go over that. Yes, I will. Cold Slither track list. Welcome to the Swamp. Cold Slither. Knock'em Dread. Thunder Machine. Zartan's Revenge. Snakes on the Bayou. Torched. Under the Dreadnought Spell. Master of Disguise. The Ballad of Buzzer. These Fluffies are fatal.
These Fluffies are fatal.
Yes. So Fluffies were these little, think Trouble with Tribbles in Star Trek.
Okay.
Same concept. These little cute things that basically like gremlins, you get them wet or whatever, and they turn into these giant hulking monster things, but they were called Fluffies. So it's kind of a little joke for the G.I. Joe fans that they've put into this album.
All right.
Here's where they're adding on more now. So not only did they create a band, not only are they going to make a record, not only are there variants of said record that you now have a track listing for, it's what we now have all been waiting for, Jeff. The live debut at San Diego Comic-Con International.
Okay.
Cold Slither will make its explosive on-stage debut during San Diego Comic-Con with a one-night-only concert experience on Thursday, July 24th at San Diego's Brick by Brick. Presented by Hasbro and Reigning Phoenix Music, this 21 and over event promises a full-force blend of original metal mayhem and 80s nostalgia. Now, here's where you need to read the event details, because this is only going to ramp up more. Like, if you're into G.I. Joe, you're now like, I need to get my ass to Comic-Con. Here you go. Event details. Cold Slither live at SDCC. Date, Thursday, July 24th, 2025. Time, doors at 8, show at 9. Venue, Brick by Brick, 1130 Buenos Avenue, San Diego, California, 92110. Tickets, $35 plus service charges. Available exclusively at Brick by Brick's official website. Total capacity, only 450 people. Let the hysteria begin, because the next section is called merch.
Oh,
Limited edition show-only gear, including an exclusive t-shirt, posters, LPs, CDs, and collectible pin sets. This high-octane live experience kicks off the biggest weekend in pop culture and gives fans a first taste of Cold Slither's signature metal-fueled rebellion, a must-attend for any G.I. Joe fan who still lives by the battle cry, Yo, Joe. And that wraps up the article.
Okay, I just want to say this. This is exactly what I was saying that WWF needed to do with Jeff Jarrett and Road Dogg. They needed to do a whole concert album stuff, exactly what they're doing with this band. Jeff Jarrett and Road Dogg needed to go on tour, promote My Baby Tonight, along with some other few tracks. WWF missed the boat in the mid-90s.
Yeah, Mountain Rock could have opened.
Dude, you're getting it now.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, now back, jokes aside. This is hilarious. Like, they are going balls out for a band that just made a quick one appearance.
Yes. One-time appearance on a cartoon in 1985.
So, like, my question is G.I. Joe fans, like, going batshit crazy right now? Like, I'm not part of any G.I. Joe groups, but, like, are they going crazy? Like, what's the vibe about this?
I would say so, and here's the reason why. I've really tempered down my excitement for G.I. Joe because I had to remove myself from the toy line. That killed me to do because I still have a lot of love for G.I. Joe. Mm-hmm. If I was still in the game, I would be trying to make plans now to somehow get my hands on one or two of those 450 tickets that are going to be available for this show, if only for the limited edition merch, and somehow get my ass into Comic-Con to try to get my hands on that Cold Slither box set.
I understand you, but what about the other G.I. Joe fans? Because you're still part of G.I. Joe groups, right?
No, I removed myself from those as well. I was like, I don't need to see it, but I still follow Hasbro, and that's how I was getting those updates and seeing the figures. And then this one popped up from a random toy site that just happened to show up on my timeline. That's how I came across it. No, but what I'm saying, Jeff, is I removed from it, and I've already got a little bit of excitement, like, oh man, this is really, really cool. So I can imagine the collectors that are still in the game, still wrapped up in the whole G.I. Joe fandom, buying every figure. I can imagine what they're going through right now. Seeing how limited all of this is going to be as well, I'm sure is driving them nuts.
So where can people find the information that you just read? What's the website?
I believe it's Toys News NSI, but I mean, you could just do a Google search for Cold Slither concert and it's going to pop up.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But I'm blown away that they are going to this level to ramp up something that was literally a one-off in a cartoon 40 years ago. And you know what? That is why I love this hobby. Nobody wanted them to go that hard. They don't need to go that hard, but they're doing it anyway. And we love them for it.
Dude, I want to see what that pin set looks like.
Yes, the pin set. I mean, look at the set of 4 figures that's coming out. The 4-pack, the packaging, absolutely incredible. The figures with the instruments, absolutely incredible. It's what you would expect from the G.I. Joe Hasbro toy line. They blow me away with this classified line every time. I mean, I still look at the figures and I'm still like, man, that's really cool. I can't. I don't have the funds to continue to support that and wrestling, and I had to write it off. But I still admire the figures. That Cold Slither set is no exception. And every bit of me just wants to buy it anyway. And be like, you know what? I haven't bought a G.I. Joe figure in like a year. I'm buying this set just because it's so damn cool. So
this is amazing. Like,
it is.
Again, why haven't other people thought of something like this? And I joked around about, Road Dogg and Jeff Jarrett going out on tour and doing something with that, but
because risk is scary. Is this going to pay off? Who knows? That's the thing though. They don't need to promote these figures like they are. They're going to sell out in a minute. They're going to be gone.
Yeah.
They're escalating this insanity of the fandom to beyond the next level, right? This is kicking it up a million notches. So those figures are going to be, it would be one thing if they were mass producing them, right?
Right.
And they were going to hit retail. They were worried that they were going to sit at whatever, $100, $125 for the package. And then they did something like this to really kick off the fandom to try to push them out. They don't need to do that. These are going to sell out anyway. They're limited, right? So these things, I mean, what I'm saying is on the secondary market, I think that Cold Slither set is going to at least double in value. It's going to be insane. But I just love it because you go and look at those 4 figures that they made, the 4 of them together with the instruments, it's absolutely incredible. But now you have a live band. They're on Spotify. It's actual music. It's metal. It rules. I read that earlier. I'm like, I have to read this on the show. That is that's batshit crazy to go that hard on a limited edition set.
See, now we need Van Hammer.
Oh yeah, Van Hammer. Yes.
We need Van Hammer. We need Mountain Rock.
Yep.
And headliners are Jeff Jarrett and Road Dogg going out on tour.
There you go. That's the tour.
Yep. Love it. Wow, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah. It's nuts, dude. There's going to be 450 people watching that band play live, and they're basically going to be there for the merch. I guarantee 99% of that crowd is going to be like, I need my pin set. I need my t-shirt, and I may as well pick up one of these albums while I'm at it.
And then you got 4 band members from 4 different bands. This is a bigger to do than when Roadrunner Records had all the people from different bands like Slipknot and Machine Head were playing together.
Yeah.
And Avenged Sevenfold, this is bigger than that, dude.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that this is the biggest thing those guys have ever been a part of musically. to be wrapped up with Hasbro. I mean, this is great visual for them, you know, to get their music out there too. So good for those guys. They hitched on. I hope the best for them. And I hope the best for Hasbro as well. I hope this whole investment pays off because I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I hope this $1 billion company does great. No, I'm with you on that. I actually love that idea. Could you imagine the guy that thought this up going to work that day and he goes, "Hey, I was watching G.I. Joe last night and Cold Slither was on that episode. Oh yeah, dude, how funny would that be if if there was like an actual Cold Slither band? They walk into work. What you guys talking about? Oh, dude, we were watching G.I. Joe last night. We were talking about Cold Slither, and that'd be cool if they were like an actual band. That'd be hella fun. What if we made figures of that? You know, you can envision or imagine the spawning of that and how that all came together for San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, that was a fun snowball to watch form for sure.
Exactly. Allegedly,
how this all came to be.
Yeah, that's just how I would imagine something like that happening, or something like, you know.
Yeah. And so that wasn't necessarily like a wrestling figure thing at all, but it's more like we are in such a cool hobby that something like this takes place. Mm-hmm. Like, how awesome is that? And I hope that other companies are paying attention. Like you mentioned, Jeff, like maybe they could do something like this. Like you joked about the Road Dogg and Double J thing, but like maybe Mattel next year at WrestleMania could do something fun like that.
Doing something fun like that would be great. But like, what if people dressed up as Alvin and the Chipmunks or something? I don't know.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, maybe.
There's a furry community.
Oh. Didn't you just talk about furries during that little segment?
Fluffies.
Oh, fluffies. Oh, that's the G.I. Joe's furries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the furries of the G.I. Joe universe. Exactly.
Oh, man. Well, that is awesome, dude. That is
very, very cool. What a hobby we're in. This is insane.
Way to think outside the box on that one, Hasbro.
Very much so, yes.
All right, we're going to go quickly over at WWF Magazine. This is actually one of my favorite magazines. This is WWF Magazine from November of 1991. On the cover is Bret Hart holding the Intercontinental title. Bret Hart, Hitman, strikes gold on the cover. SummerSlam results, wedding bells turn to hell, and Hulk victorious, like always. Justice for All, Sid calls the shots, exclusive WWF profile. Ric Flair in contention for championship status. Big Boss Man admits his affairs. And Sergeant Slaughter, payback time. So you open up the cover, you got the table of contents right there. You got Hogan promoting right guard.
Because anything less would be uncivilized.
Going through the magazine, you got videotapes on page 2 on archive.org. You do a search. You look for the WWF magazine. It says November of 1991. Silver Vision deliver WWF video hits direct to your door. And on there, they've got WrestleFest. I don't remember what year that was. They got Super Tape. They have another WrestleFest and a Survivor Series that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. It was Hogan, Bigelow, Ken Patera, all that. And that is the promotion for videotapes.
Which is crazy that Survivor Series 1987 is on there in a 1991 magazine. Hey guys, watch this show from 4 years ago.
You got Around the Ring with Jake Roberts, climb into the ring with a WWF board game from Milton Bradley, and flip the page. You got Fan Forum with Macho and Liz coming out of a limo, but the 1991 version of Crypto. It's a official first public offering of custom minted WWF limited edition silver medallions. These are actually kind of cool.
They're very cool, actually.
They've got Hogan on one medallion and Ultimate Warrior on another.
How much are these things? $30?
$30.
Wow. It has a quantity with 2 squares. Like somebody's buying more than 9 of these.
Yeah.
Come on now. At $30 a pop.
It says next in the series, it's got Jake Roberts and it just has Road Warrior Animal. So you just get a
just
coin.
Animal.
I wonder if that series ever came out. I don't remember that.
I'm not sure, but if the pen is any indicator, Jeff, Nate may end up with a set of these, and he can let us know if Jake and the Road Warriors, or just Animal, became a thing.
Yeah, these are medallions, Nate. Silver medallions. You got Hogan and Warrior.
They come in like a fancy ring box, too, so you could, like, joke propose to somebody with this.
Yep. Genius returns to WWF, and this is when he brought in the Beverly Brothers. Underrated tag team.
I would agree with that.
Flipping over to page 14, you got Harvey Whippleman article with Harvey Whippleman and Big Bully Busick.
This was like when they really started kicking off, okay, what characters are just going to stick, right? Because they've got to have a gimmick. Like, let's just start throwing shit against the wall and see what sticks. This guy was absolutely one of those.
Big Boss Man article on page 18, flipping the pages. You start the SummerSlam rundown. It's Battle of the Titans match made in hell. It was Hogan Warrior versus Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter as Sid is the ref. We've gotten Sid as that ref as a figure before.
Yes, we have. And we've actually gotten this Warrior as an ultimate.
SummerSlam wrap up. You got Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect. Scott, if you had to rank this match in SummerSlam history, where would you put it?
Ahead of Bulldog and Bret.
Okay.
Top 3.
Top 3. Okay. So Bulldog and Bret would be in that top 3?
Probably not.
Okay.
I'd have to go do a rundown of SummerSlam matches just to be sure, but I can guarantee that Perfect and Bret is a top 3 for me. I can watch this match anytime.
Yeah.
And I think the best part was watching this match. You didn't think Bret was actually going to win, right? Bret was a tag team guy. Bret, at this point in 1991, had been in the Federation since like 85 as part of a tag team. So 6 years into your run, you're known for one thing, right? You're known for being a tag team guy. And now you're going to break off and do a singles match. This should be a good match for Mr. Perfect, but a guaranteed win from Mr. Perfect. And then you'll figure out who his next challenger is after Bret. I overlooked Bret in this match. I didn't think there was a shot in hell at him winning. I understood he was going on a singles run, blah, blah, blah. I did not see titles in his future. I was so wrong and happily wrong too, because I was so shocked at the end. And I was like, oh man, now this actually makes a lot of sense. Like, Bret had a hell of a match here. This is his template moving forward. These amazing matches. This is going to be great. But this match against Perfect, definitely a top 3 SummerSlam match for me.
I agree. Definitely a top 3. One of the other underrated matches that I love is SummerSlam 02, I believe it was, with Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio to open the show. Yeah. Excellent match there. Continuing on, page 30, SummerSlam wrap up. You got Road Warriors winning the tag belts from the Nasty Boys. That was almost like a given that the Road Warriors were going to beat Nasty Boys, right?
It was a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a matter of if they were going to win the titles. It was a matter of when they were going to win the titles. It was literally like, as soon as they showed up, the hourglass turned upside down. Yep. And the sands just fell, and it was just literally a matter of time until this happened for LOD. You just knew that they were going to win the titles.
So Nasty Boys transitional champs?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, right, because they wanted to break Bret off as a singles guy. So you had them drop the straps at WrestleMania 7, just a few months previous from this. Then you have the Nasties just basically as your filler until Legion of Doom. Because you didn't want Legion of Doom to take the titles off the Hearts.
Yeah,
that runs into that whole thing we talked about earlier, face versus face. Fans are, I'm sure it would have been a fantastic match, but you have good versus bad at SummerSlam. That's just what it was. And yeah, total transitional champions. Nothing against the Nasty Boys, because we're going to get a little bit of their merch here in the catalog in a few pages here. And I totally would buy their tank top, but it was all about Legion of Doom in 91.
Fun fact, Road Warriors did face the Hart Foundation on a WrestleFest tape.
Yes, they did. And it was a great match, but that's not where you're looking for the titles to change hands. I think you want your traditional face versus heel, and that's what they gave us here.
Continuing on with the SummerSlam 91 wrap up, you got Virgil defeating $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Big Boss Man defeating the Mountie, where they were had to go spend a night in a New York jail.
Yeah.
And the rest of the card in that wrap.
There's Power and Glory, Jeff. There's Paul Roma.
Yep, exactly.
Getting drop kicked by Ricky the Dragon.
Ooh, you want some trivia real quick?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
All right, real quick. Places. What foreign country imports the greatest amount of copies of WWF Magazine, Scott? The hell?
What country?
Yeah. What kind of question is that? Come on now.
United States?
No, it says Great Britain.
Really?
What the hell kind of question is that? Come on now.
Where are you finding this question? Is it on the next page or something?
It's on page 34.
Okay, so we talked about earlier about how Power and Glory were kind of jobbing out at this point.
Yes.
So in 6-man tag team action, the Dragon, Ricky Steamboat, the British Bulldog, and the Texas Tornado beat Warlord and Power and Glory.
Yes. Yes.
So that tells you about Power and Glory standing at this point, where I believe the year previous they beat the Rockers, didn't they?
Very good.
Ugh, how the mighty had fallen by this point. Again, sorely underrated tag team that should have been given more to do. But who am I?
Okay, what dermatologist tested item is now advertised in the WWF merchandise catalog? Dermatologist tested? What the
Deodorant?
kind of questions were we answering? I can't read the answers. They're upside down. I don't like this game. I don't want to play WWF trivia anymore.
We're done with this trivia.
Yeah, let's go into merchandise. This sucks.
Well, look, there's a softball. Whose WWF t-shirts read "What a Rush"?
Every 80s character when they were having fun in hotel rooms. Was I close?
You're in the ballpark.
Okay, flipping the page over to the merchandise. This is crazy, dude. Like, you look at now, they're starting to, in 1991, they're starting to like pump out the merchandise. It's like, hey guys, maybe instead of having 2 Hogan shirts, maybe we should just have like a bunch of Hogan shirts, a bunch of Hogan posters. Let's throw the pillowcases on there. We got mugs. We have a Hulkster hat. We've got a bunch of Hulk Hogan stuff on
bandanas, coffee mugs, bears, posters, sweaters. Yeah.
This is insane how much Hogan merchandise is right here. So
2 pages of Hogan, then you flip it. You got 1 page of Warrior and 1 page of Legion of Doom.
Warrior has the bear. Warrior has the pillowcase. Armbands? Are those armbands? Or is that
those are armbands, and then wristbands.
Wristbands too. Yep. Road Warriors. I always wanted that necklace, but I didn't want to wear that necklace, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's actually more like a lanyard, it looks like.
It was a necklace, but yeah, you're kind of right. It is looking like a lanyard. They've got the shoulder pads that all of us kids that went to those shows and saw the Road Warriors had.
Yep.
They got the poster and the bandana.
Let's not gloss over the poster, Jeff. That poster's super important.
Yes, if you look at that poster, you'll recognize that those figures have been made just recently, and we talked about it on this show.
Yep. So the Road Warriors are posed exactly how their BBTS BRGs are posed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the inspiration came from.
Flip the page over. You got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, a couple of items for him. He's got a poster and a t-shirt. You got the Nasty Boys tank top that Scott just talked about. Big Boss Man's got a hat. The British Bulldog. And
sunglasses too, Jeff.
Oh, the sunglasses were for sale too?
Yep. Those were only $7.95 in 1991.
Nate, you need those.
But you got to get the hat to go with it.
You got Roddy Piper with the t-shirt. Sergeant Slaughter. That's actually kind of a cool Sergeant Slaughter t-shirt. He's
at the bottom of the boot.
Yep. And you got a Rockers t-shirt, which I wish I would have gotten, and a Rockers poster.
Wasn't Shawn Michaels wearing that when he kicked Jannetty in the face in the barbershop?
Almost looks like it, right?
Yep. Leather jacket and jeans.
Flipping the page over to 42. You got a Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior backpack. You got the WWF Championship fanny pack. You got water pumpers.
Water pumpers, yes. Not squirt heads. Water pumpers. They're like figures.
And this is really cool. Obviously, we were all too old for it, but it was the WWF, I should say, Superstar swivel chairs, and you could sit in Hogan and Warrior's lap. Yep. That's
funny they didn't make a Pat Patterson in those. Anyway, the kid's holding some Hasbro figures, Jeff.
They are holding some Hasbro figures, Hogan and Warrior, obviously. Got the WWF makeup kit over on the other side of the page. You got the belts that had the foam titles, I should say, championship belts.
Beautiful foam championship belts that all of us wrestled in family rooms and living rooms all over the country, battling on the weekends when mom and dad went to the store and we were left to just murder each other.
Yep.
All for a foam championship title.
For $13.95 in 1991. You got the slippers of Hogan and Warrior. Man, a lot of Hogan and Warrior stuff. Like no other wrestlers existed in 1991. It was just Hogan and Warrior, dude.
Like you said, that's where the money was. But these are those beautiful slippers that were just like fabric. And then they had that like ankle piece that you could roll up your ankle. Yep. And then it had the plastic head at the toes. I loved those.
Over on the side, you got WWF carry-all case, an all-purpose plastic storage case is decorated with your favorite WWF superstars, perfect for protecting school supplies, WWF trading cards, and special treasures. Zoom in, and you got Jake Roberts on the cover. You got Ultimate Warrior and Hogan. Again, Warrior Hogan. And of course, when you scroll down to the bottom of the page on page 42, letter H, it is WWF Wrestling Buddies. You got Hogan, you got Boss Man, you got Jake the Snake Roberts, and Ultimate Warrior, all priced for $24.95 each.
Okay, and now I suddenly realize where we never got those.
Why is that?
We're not taking $25 and getting Wrestling Buddies. We're going to get 5 Hasbro figures instead.
Okay, question. Were they $25 at KB Toys?
I don't remember.
I thought they were like 18, 20, somewhere in that range.
It's possible. But I never even looked enough to know. That's the thing, is these were so off of our radar, and it was because of the price point, but I don't remember how much they were.
Mm-hmm.
But we were buying Hasbro figures at that time, so we weren't going to get Pillow Buddies over some Hasbro figures. That just wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And I still kick my own ass for not doing it. And granted, we've been able to go back and get the entire set, but still, like, I so wish I had a box set of Road Warriors. That would have just been amazing. Or Legion of Doom, sorry.
Flip over the page, you got a bunch of WWF merchandise over there, hat, shirt, WWF branded stuff. But then over on the other side of the page, you got the popcorn tin with Hogan and Warrior. One popcorn tin is Hogan, the other is Warrior. Man, it was just Hogan and Warrior galore in 91, dude.
That's it, with a little bit of other guys mixed in, like Legion of Doom and British Bulldog, a little bit of Ricky Steamboat, but yeah, it was all Hogan Warrior.
Yep. WWF Trading Card Collector Kit 1991. $17.95 for those. WWF Superstar Candy Tin with little, like, gummy bears, but wrestler form.
Yep.
As well. And that is on page 44. And also, if you skip a bit, brother, to page 46, there is the WWF bedding. And if you look at the bedding, if you look closely in on the picture, there's Hasbro's all over. You got the WWF ring. You got Bushwhacker Luke and Butch over there, $1 Million Man in green, Macho King. And over on the right nightstand is Jake the Snake Roberts, Jimmy Snuka, Marty Jannetty, and Ultimate Warrior.
I would love to have my bed be this. I wonder if it comes in king.
Someone on Etsy needs to do that, dude.
Right. Just get some of this old character bedding and just make it.
All right, flipping over the page to page 48. A match made in heaven turns to hell. Talking about Macho and Liz and Jake Roberts ruining that night.
It's quite a Photoshop job they did there, Jeff, on that centerfold with Macho Man and Liz inside of a snake mouth.
That's 1991, dude. Let him...
That's horrifying, actually.
No. Then you flip over the page. They continue talking about the Jake ruining their wedding, but then also it's promoting Survivor Series.
And a 1-900 number here, Jeff.
What's the 1-900 number?
WWF fans, here's your chance to hear from the superstar couple, being Macho Man and Liz, of course. Every day you can hear a new message from the Macho Man, Randy Savage, or Miss Elizabeth Macho. Plus, you can play the WWF trivia game and get a chance to receive an all-expense-paid trip to meet the superstar couple. You just had to call this 1-900 number. And Jeff, I'm going to try to see if I can zoom in on the fine print here that I'm sure will give us a warning. There it is. Very small print. Kids. Now it is inside of a purple star. Kids, be sure you have your mom or dad's permission before you call. And then in really, really small print, $1.49 for the first minute, 99 cents each additional minute.
Dude, call that number right now.
All right.
Are you going to get charged?
I don't know. Let's see. My company can pay for it. They're fine. 1-900-288-2243. And I'm going to put it on speakerphone.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
Damn it. These assholes, man. It was only 91. They've already disconnected it. God.
What?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, we'll blame the WWF.
We should try the WCW one. What was it? 1-900-909-9900?
9900. Yep.
Let's try it.
All right. 1-900, right? 909 9900.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless.
Oh.
Your call cannot be
Assholes. Come on now.
Yeah, that's all
We
right.
try to do something fun with the listeners or for the listeners. They
That's
take
okay.
it away.
Same thing happened to me when I tried to order Tom Amansky's baseball the other day. All right.
I tried to order Dorf with golf, but no. Didn't let me do that either.
All right. You got the promotion for Survivor Series right here. Hogan and Warrior. Oh, you got me, brother.
Yeah. No, Hogan and Undertaker, dude.
Oh, dude, we've been talking
you looked
about
at so much Warrior in the merchandise catalog. You're like, oh, there's Hogan and Warrior again.
Sorry, it's Warrior and Undertaker. Oh, you got me, brother.
Warrior, yes, Warrior and Undertaker.
What?
You got Warrior on the brain.
Dude, there's so much Warrior merchandise. I don't know where I'm at right now.
Hogan and Undertaker.
Hogan and
from Survivor Series. You got me, brother.
It's got the promotion for Sid's team, the LOD and Big Boss Man versus the Natural Disasters, IRS, and Jake Roberts, and another team, Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, British Bulldog, and Virgil versus Warlord, Ted DiBiase, the Mountie, and Ric Flair.
And Ultimate Warrior. Who,
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way, I'm just kidding. By the way, he was completely gone from the Federation at this point.
Correct.
He's not in your ad for Survivor Series, but they have so much of his crap left over that they need to shill and get rid of. He's dominated the merchandise catalog, and he's not in the Federation anymore. Vince is like, I got to recoup some of that money I paid that guy.
All right, going over to page 56, you have an ad for Suburban Commando coming to a theater near you. Apparently, it was in theaters on October 27th and was out of theaters on October 29th. That's
Here today, gone today.
Today. Yes. Suburban Commando.
And there's an article on Sergeant Slaughter,
Yes.
who slowly began like a face turn, I believe, after this.
Yeah, it was almost like they turned him heel just for the Iraq War.
That's it. And a WrestleMania main event.
Yep. And look what we're talking about here, Scott. Another advertisement, but it's about WrestleFest. How appropriate that WrestleFest appears again on the show.
This thing was a quarter vacuum back in the day. Just trying to do that Saturday Night's Main Event and get to LOD, because word on the street was that if you beat LOD, you could play as LOD. I'm here to tell you that was bullshit. And I spent so much money trying to beat LOD because their health meters were like unreal. Like you'd punch them and nothing would happen. Mm-hmm. And then they punched you and you'd like fly across the ring. Your health meter's mostly gone. So like you're pumping quarter after quarter in to replenish. It was insane. Never got to play as LOD. And I think that's one thing that they should fix in that new tabletop as well. Make LOD playable.
All right, just kind of skimming through. You got an article for Sid Justice.
Yeah, Sid Justice comes from the land.
Then you get to an article with Ric Flair, and it says, I'm the real world's champion, and he's holding the big gold back in 1991.
There's a humongous picture of it right there in the magazine.
Yep, that was taboo back then.
Yes, it was.
Nice little article on Ric Flair. I highly recommend everybody going back and reading that again. It got an ad for primetime wrestling on the USA Network.
Look at the way Vince is dressed.
That's 1991 for you, dude.
Yeah, it's like a puffy jacket and puffy pants and white athletic shoes and like a black, looks like a button up or some type of shirt underneath the puffy jacket. Oh, that's ridiculous. Yeah, you're right. That was the 90s.
I kind of skimmed through the rest of it. It's not anything interesting. There's an article with Tito Santana.
It's repackaging as El Matador.
Yep. You got a thing on Ricky Steamboat at the back, and then a popcorn tin of Hogan. No Warrior on this one, but just Hogan. And at the end, there's also an article or a advertisement for Smash TV. Fun game.
Very, very fun game. I don't understand the Caught in the Act. It's a picture of Brooklyn Brawler and Sherry Martel having dinner and Lord Alfred Hayes at the table with a gag over his mouth.
So they did that. They did that thing called Caught in the Act, and they did that for quite a while. But I don't know. It was so weird, dude. Like that Caught in the Act thing was just, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, but they would have some funny photos. And if you go through a lot of the WWF magazines on archive.org, there was one, and I can't remember, I'll have to go back and find it, but there was one where it looked like Bundy was parallel to the ground, like he was about to take a back bump, but they caught him mid, like levitating. Like,
that's awesome.
A foot off the ground or like 6 inches off the ground, but it was funny. But they would have eventually every once in a while throw in those funny pictures of caught in the act. But as they started to go on, they started to get worse and worse. For example, this one where Lord Alfred Hayes has a gag in his mouth, or like a, the ball, he's got the ball. I'm kidding. He doesn't have that.
Yeah, it was everything but a ball gag. Like, what in the hell kind of geeky shit are these guys into? What are they doing?
It was the 90s, dude. It was the 90s.
Yeah, like Alfred's just there to watch and not say a word. And they're making sure by putting a gag over his mouth. What?
Yeah, right. So anyways, fun magazine, very memorable magazine, at least for me, because Bret Hart was my favorite wrestler at this time. It's him holding the IC title. I mean, we got many WWF magazines of wrestlers holding belts, but there was something about that Bret that just kind of seemed like this was a changing of the time or something like that. It just felt fresh and new.
And you're 100% right. It was a changing of the times, a changing of the guard, if you will, because you look at the roster at that time, you had guys like Hogan, you had guys like Sid Justice, who had just debuted, right? Mm-hmm. They had these heavyweights on the roster. They had Legion of Doom. Mm-hmm. They could have put any of those guys on the cover. They put Bret with his IC title, newly won IC title. So you're absolutely right. This definitely signified a change in the direction that the WWF was headed, right? Because Warrior was gone. Sid wasn't going to be around for long, nor was Hogan at this point. So yeah, it was a definite changing of the guard, Jeff. You nailed it.
And that rounds out the show. Nate, we want to hear what you purchased from the merchandise.
Yeah, did you get some WWF crypto?
Crypto. I mean, we mean medallions.
Medallions, yes, thank you. Silver coin things.
Exactly. Hey, you know what? Check out Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling. They're back. They're back. They're fun to listen to. It's fun hearing where they've been and their life changes over the past few years. Also, check out Stolen Gimmicks. Check out In the Marbles Pod, where they talk about NASCAR. You got Ryan Buzz doing Trivia Buzz, Chick Foley Show. A lot of wrestling stuff. Boots of the Face, Rucker and EJ are a couple of my favorites. Love those guys. Wish I could see them more throughout the year. So anyways, and that rounds out the show. Scott, for episode 489, as we trek on to 500, anything else?
Stay safe, stay healthy. Fig License 2016, and happy toy hunting.
I want to thank everybody for listening to episode 489, hashtag Fig Life. Adios.
Yeah. Fullyposeable. Let's go. Jeff and Scott, the Toon Brothers, busting out the ring, but we don't take it out the box. MOC, happy toy hunting. We'll see you next week with the OGs of WFP. Fullyposeable, thank you all for listening. It ain't no storyline, real life siblings. So everybody go and do your toy spotting. Hashtag Fig Life, adios from the Kings.